Hello, Yogi. How are you?
Hi Dev, I am doing well today.
Good. So, self esteem, is it? It's so bandied around, and how do we understand it? So,
Hmm.
self esteem is really holding yourself in warm regard. Healthy self esteem is holding yourself in warm regard in the face of your human flaws, in the face of knowing that you're perfectly imperfect, as
Mm-hmm.
is your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Mm-hmm.
means also that I have the same value that you have, and nothing can add to our value or be subtracted from who we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's sort of my first thoughts on what self-esteem is. I'd love to hear yours.
I think it's very similar what you said. It's about uh, what you believe about yourself and having a not even positive view of yourself or negative view of yourself, but a neutral view of yourself. Like this is how it is. Being able to see that as a like, oh, I spilled the coffee. It's not good, it's not bad, you spilled the coffee kind of thing, instead of like, oh, I'm so clunky and this, and then start to kind of go into that negative self-talk, right? And I also love what you said about taking something out and putting something in, and it doesn't change you. There's a like 3,000 year old prayer in the Indian Upanishad, Isha Upanishad. It says, like, this is perfect, that is perfect. If you add perfect to perfect, what comes out is perfect. And if you take perfect out of perfect, that's also what remains is perfect. So everything is kind
Hmm.
of perfect that way. So I think the self-esteem is kind of like that. It's like, if you take something out of me, I'm still me after that. Or if you add
Right.
something to me, I'm still me. And that is the self-esteem, the core.
You still have that value. That's beautiful. It's very much an inside job, inside out. I hold myself in self esteem, or I hold myself positively that I have a value at the same time that I can hold you. But what we notice in our society, if you like, is that self esteem is often based on outside influences. So I like to think of three types of self esteem that come from the outside in that will never satisfy us. So one is performance. um, I earn a certain amount. I got a good grade on my exam. That's performance based self esteem. So the boss gave me a raise because I did a really good job. And then I feel bad about myself because at home my wife yelled at me. So that's one outer um, esteem that we sometimes take in performance. The other one, and this pertains a lot to women, is other. I have high self esteem of myself because you think that I'm amazing,
So praising other people, yeah,
right? Because
very
of what
important.
you say, I need you to think highly of me for me to think highly of me. Very much the love addictive kind of personalities. I need you to make me feel good about myself. And the third one is the attributes I have. I have a great body because I go to the gym. I have an amazing car, a big house. Those are the external things that often we look at to make ourselves feel better. Those three: performance, other, and attributes, which will never make us feel better because your value and my value is the same. You might be a better swimmer than I am. I might be a better golfer than you are. But as people, we are same as. And as I always say, love and intimacy demands democracy. We can only have true intimacy when we look at each other eye to eye, not from one up or shame based one down.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think this outside in perspective, I think it's helpful in the beginning, maybe, but eventually it's an insider job. And if you keep relying on outside perspective, I think it's good to, like, oh, I perform, and oh, maybe I do have skills. but or maybe I'm a nice person and people praise me, or the attribute. But I think we keep relying on that outside, constant outside input. We never we always have the scaffolding of other people praising us and praising us and praising us, and we never get to that place where I'm okay, I don't need a praise. So I think,
Exactly. It's enough.
yeah, it's enough. That never happens,
Right.
unfortunately, for people. Yeah, true.
Right. I mean, true story of a client who went to the degree of changing her body. She had breast implants in order to keep her husband. That's she would do anything, even if it meant forming her body to keep him. It didn't work because it was never good enough, as you say.
Yeah,
It wasn't exactly what he wanted either. It was a more complex story than that. But she actually, I'm like blown away that she would actually go and have surgery to
to change
change
your body.
something that had, I mean, just on her, the physical toll on her body,
Mm,
been
yeah,
tremendous.
yeah.
It's been
And I
tremendous.
think it's you said about uh, for me, it's actually easier to hold other people in high regard, than it's for me to hold
Mm.
myself in high regard. And I
So
think
you're
I've
doing
I've
that. You're
I've done a
putting
lot of
yourself underneath them.
underneath them.
Right.
I've done a lot of work over the past, I think, 5 to 7 years about accepting other people for who they are and really seeing the beauty in them. And I think my next job is to work on myself. It's a work in progress over the last few years to actually, okay, how do I hold myself in regard? How do I accept myself for all the flaws? Imagine, I were not to improve at all from now on. Can I be okay with that? That's the self-esteem part. And I think
Right.
for most of us, you must have heard of golden rule, right? Treat other people as you treat yourself. I mean, I would treat people very badly if that were the case. I mean, that was true when people were
Yeah,
violent and
yeah.
all that, but now we need the reverse golden rule, like being able to treat myself the way I treat other people.
Right. Who was it who said, if you treat others as they ought to be treated, they will behave as they ought to?
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, I don't know who that person is, but yeah, if you treat them, they ought to be
Good.
treated. They will
Maybe.
behave as they ought to behave. Beautiful.
Right. And just being able to say, be kind and compassionate, that I have human flaws because we all do. There's nothing that harshness does that loving kindness won't do better. So you can knock yourself on the head and say, oh, I don't have a value. Oh, come down on yourself. But there's
Yeah.
nothing that harshness will do that gentle kindness won't do better. Yeah, I did say something I shouldn't have. Yeah, I did act like an idiot. It's okay. I can forgive myself. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It means I'm just human.
So one thing I wanna in my experience, I think I do agree with that there's nothing that harshness can do that loving kindness cannot do better. I want to add that, like, a long run. In the short run, I think harshness can do things which,
Mm,
like, fear based. I mean, like, if you have a stick and kick somebody to, like, they might do something for a few hours, a few days, and I think fear based thing does work, but long term it does a lot
right.
more damage than it does good.
So that's something so profound that you're talking about, and maybe we can spend a whole nother session just talking about this. That we can never control another person. But you're right. If I hold a gun to your head, yes, you'll do what I need you to do, but the relationship will have been damaged.
Yeah,
So that's where harshness never tops loving kindness.
loving kindness. And I think
The relationship will be
there's one
harmed.
quote by Tony Robbins which he talks about our own self-esteem, and like, I think we conflate these two things: our value in marketplace and our soul's
Mm,
value. Our value, there's a self-esteem and there's value in marketplace. Just because you have self-esteem doesn't mean people will pay you for the work you do. That's a different. So I think we conflate these two things: like value in the marketplace. A marketplace could be, I mean, marketplace of relationships and people, and that's also in a way you're interacting with people, and there's a value there. But the value of the soul you have is untouched by anything that happens outside of you, and that's self-esteem, in my opinion.
Beautiful. I think we should end just on that your soul. I love
As
that. What you just said, your soul is untouched. Your soul is so
untouched.
pure. And that is the inside out job. Thank you, Yogi. This was great as always.
Thank you, Ben. Take care.